Well, I want to thank everybody for being here, all of our partners in law enforcement, both at the federal level and at the state and local. We just appreciate it. And I have to say the primary responsibility of government is public safety. And that's what we're here to talk about. And we need to keep Montanans safe in their homes and in their communities. And the reality is we have rising crime. We're going to hear more from the sheriff and the chief about what they're seeing here in Yellowstone County and in Billings. But it's a direct correlation with what we had seen in the open border policies of the Biden administration. We're still doing cleanup. Let's be clear, our law enforcement officers are on the front line every single day, and we owe it to them to make sure that they have the resources they need to stay safe and get the job done. We're seeing not only more crime, but also more drugs. We know that's also a direct result of the open border policy. As I said, law enforcement needs the resources to get the job done. We can't, and even if we can't, when we apprehend criminals, we need a place to put them. And if we don't, it puts an undue burden on the county and the local government. And that's why we've made it a priority in our budget that's currently in front of the legislature to make sure we add the resources that are necessary. I'll just note a couple of things, and I don't want to give the time to our collaborators here. We need to expand capacity at our state prison. That's why we added $150 million to add 500 beds there, so we have the capacity to make sure violent criminals are locked up. We also added $250 million to develop and execute a long-term plan to keep criminals off the street here in Montana. We added $6.5 million to better support our correctional officers to make sure that we have folks that can maintain our prisons. We also included pay raises for Montana Highway Patrol to make sure that they're paid properly for the important work that they do. These investments are significant. They span the range of public safety and corrections. They address immediate needs, and they also plan for the future with long-term investments. So very pleased to support these in the budget. I'm hopeful these will all get to my desk. But I want to make this real. Law enforcement is a collaboration, as I mentioned at the beginning, between our federal partners, state, and local. And first, if you don't mind, Sheriff, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about the situation here in Yellowstone County and what it would mean to have more capacity in Deer Lodge as you do your work. Yep.
Yep. Thank you, Governor. So we talked a little bit about before the governor got here, and we were talking about the capacity of our local facilities, whether it be here in Yellowstone County, whether it be Great Falls, whether it be any of the, especially the larger jails around the state, and we're all busting at the seams. A lot of this has to do with the capacity at the state prison because many of the people that we're holding would otherwise be at the state, and so it's affecting a lot of our jails. So I'm here to support the governor's initiative and his push to get these programs here through the budget, and to support and work with our local legislators to encourage them to go along with what's being proposed in the budget bill. Very important to us, very important to public safety, very important to our community and the citizens in our community. So, Governor, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff. Chief St. John?
Thank you.
You share your thoughts about what you're seeing here in Billings?
Certainly. Thank you, Governor, and welcome everybody to our facility. We had a very productive, robust discussion prior to the Governor's arrival, which really reiterated what the Sheriff had talked about. Locally, we're not going to see any of this money specifically, but the ripple effects, local, state, and federal, will be pronounced. Because what we're talking about is anything we do in the justice system, whether you take something away, whether you add something, makes a difference and affects the entire system. So adding capacity to the prison will affect positively our population here at the detention facility. Adding correction officers will improve safety for not only the inmates, but for staff and help with retention and recruiting at that level. And so again, it just transcends across the entire system. The one thing that will be most helpful for us going into the end of '24, the total number of arrests that the Billings Police Department had, 60% were for warrants, revocations, suspended sentences, people that are already in the system. They're not new offenses. And these are the individuals that are tying up the system, reoffending, causing issues that if we can create capacity at all levels, it'll certainly benefit the community. And I certainly support the governor's plan. Everything that's laid out here, again, will ripple effect down to the locals. And so we thank him, and hopefully the legislature will fall in line with that as well. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah. Katie Weston is the warden at the women's prison. Can you share just what the increase in pay for the correctional officers will mean and how that'll help you do your job?
Absolutely. The pay increase for correctional officers is incredibly valuable. It allows us to operate a safe facility for both staff and for inmates. It's invaluable that we're able to provide an environment that will be both positive for staff and for inmates. And also, we're grateful to the governor for allowing that to pass through, but also for prioritizing the prison capacity and increased pay.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. And County Attorney Scott Twito.
Thank you very much, Governor. Appreciate the opportunity. The governor's plan is an incredible investment for law enforcement. And I want to make sure that I speak to my constituents here in Yellowstone County to tell you exactly how it's going to positively affect law enforcement. As a county attorney, I'm in the unique position that I work with all these partners to try to take bad people off the streets. And it's frustrating for the boots on the ground when they make an arrest that they can't put them in the detention facility. And most of my constituents know we've really struggled with the jail. By the governor increasing capacity in the prison, it will allow us to move people out of our jail into the state prison where these violent offenders belong and give space for those officers to make successful arrests to protect you. So I hope that if you take anything away from this, it is this will affect you locally. This helps all our law enforcement partners. This will help me prosecute the bad people. And this is something that you need to get behind. I hope the legislature follows the governor's lead and takes this up and understands how important this is for local law enforcement and local and statewide public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yep. Well, again, we talked about the importance of this to to Yellowstone County as well as Billings, but really statewide. We have thousands of warrants that haven't been served because we don't have jail capacity. We need to get violent criminals off the street. So thank you for being here. We'd be happy to take a few questions. Yes.
Governor, there has been, over the course of the last couple of years, Montana state inmates being sent through private prison contractors out of state to Mississippi and Arizona. Do you anticipate that expanding the jail capacity at the state prison could lower the number of inmates that are sent out of state?
Yeah, we have been forced to use out-of-state beds because we don't have enough beds in Deer Lodge or here in Billings. So it's certainly going to take the pressure off. As our partners in law enforcement work to get violent criminals off the street, we need a place to put them. And we're out of beds in Deer Lodge, and that's why we prioritize the expansion there. And we're breaking ground. But the next step is to increase the capacity. So that's what this funding's all about. Good. Other questions? Yeah.
Hey, Governor, just address to the situation with the women's prison as well. How does this affect, I know there's been talk about actually needing another location. How does this affect that? Does it have any effect at all?
Yeah, there's funding in here for expansion of the women's prison, but it doesn't endorse a specific plan. The Department of Corrections is still working through options, and we're looking at where that might go. That has not been finalized, but this bill appropriates the money for whatever the Department of Corrections concludes is the best solution for additional beds. Yeah. Yes.
In the memo you sent to us all yesterday, it said something about a $250 million plan to fund and develop a long-term plan to improve public safety. Can you get into specifics about that, what that might look like?
Well, that money is in there, and this is a project we'll undertake both with the Department of Corrections as well as our law enforcement officers. A chunk of that money, I understand, is for this women's prison expansion, but we don't have a specific plan just yet. We need the input from all of our partners to figure out the specifics, but because our legislature only meets every 2 years, we didn't want to wait another 2 years to appropriate the money. So they've given us the authority to do the work to figure out what the right solution is. Anything else? Yes.
I have another question. So as looking to expand the capacity of the women's prison potentially too, I know in Billings we've seen a rise of youth crime and youth offenders. Do we have enough capacity to hold youths who are committing crime, and what could we do we need to expand that?
So the Department of Corrections is committing to increasing that capacity as well, and as such, we have turned the Pine Hills facility into a youth-only facility, which will help all of our partners that are standing up here.
Good. Thank you, everybody.